Hey everybody, Wendy Clinky here. So today's day 2, March 5th, 2025, and I'm on the road from going from passion to profit, trying to take my little $1,000 side business that's been around for 5 years and growing it to $8,000. So today's main business lesson is, what is the number one skill that we need, that I need, and you probably need too, because you're sitting here watching me, right? Is it tactical? Is it strategic? Is it technical? No. What we need to address first and foremost when running a business or starting on a business venture is the gray matter. It's the junk between your ears, which isn't junk, by the way, but that stuff, right? So I'm talking about mindset and confidence. Now, confidence doesn't grow on trees. It's not a pill you can take or a surgery you can have or a sticker or an outfit. You can't buy it. It is work. It is something that you have to do, and it is an internal thing. But I think it's a lot less difficult to obtain than we think, right? Some of you may be just naturally confident and you already cracked the code. So hopefully what I say, you're like, yeah, or maybe you have a different technique. But here's one that I found has been really freeing. So basically, I see confidence, and then I see the opposite of confidence, right? The opposite of confidence is crippling self-doubt, is irrational fear, and it's limiting beliefs, right? Because when you have those things, those fears, beliefs, etc., like, it shuts you down. It causes you to freeze. It forces you to become small. It's very hard to run a successful business and go out there and close sales and connect with other people when you are feeling and playing small and hiding and lacking self-awareness, right? I mean, you can do it, but if you truly want to thrive and build and go big, you have got to have confidence. So luckily, now that I've explained the opposite of confidence, what is confidence? Now, it's not like big, bold, proud, bragging, bravado garbage, overly testosterone, blah, 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 blah. I like to see confidence as that sort of quiet, calm sense of, I'm capable, I've got this. And sometimes it's going to feel like a little rush, like, man, I can take on the world, I can do this. But it's a very personal, internal feeling, not an external feeling, right? Like, no pair of shoes is truly going to give you confidence. I mean, alcohol might for a night, but that's not how you run a business. Okay, so we have the opposite of confidence. So here's how I also like to really talk about what confidence is. Confidence is the ability and the practice of clearing and moving through those self-doubts, those limiting beliefs, and those irrational fears. If you can dispel those, it sets you free and it allows you to move forward. So that kind of sounds doable. Here's where I used to get stuck. Tell me if this is you as well. I have spent many years of my life, many decades of my life, lacking self-awareness, right? And if you are unaware that you've got a limiting belief or crippling self-doubt or an irrational fear because you hold it so close that you just believe that it's who you are, it's your habit that you've been living in for so long, it's like you can't see the forest through the trees. It's just how I am. It's just where you're stuck. Or you may realize that, hey, I feel like I'm holding myself back. I feel like I've got, this self-doubt, which is stopping me. But you've got to look at it, right? You have to look at it. So let's talk about if you can't figure out really where that self-doubt is. Let's take a pledge, in fact. Step 1 is awareness, right? Step 1 is awareness. So I, Wendy, pledge that I shall always do my best to become aware of, that I will do my best to become aware of my irrational fears, deep-seated self-doubts, and limiting beliefs. That is my pledge, is to become aware of these things, right? Because when you're aware of them, you can address them. If you can't see they're there, they're going to continue to harm you And you're going to sit there and be like, man, what is wrong with me? Oh, I'm so horrible. Like, you have to be aware. That is the first step. Once you're aware, you can actually start to then do something about it. So how do you become aware of it? Okay, yeah, we took the pledge, right? And that in itself is very powerful because you've just told your brain, you've given it marching orders, right? It is my intention to become aware of my crap, right? But here, let's bring it to the surface a little bit faster, right? And the way I like to do that is through journaling. 10 minutes a day. My pink journal. I like pink, obviously, because I keep wearing the same sweatshirt. I try and do it 2 to 3 times a week, every single week. And I find that through that consistency and connecting with myself, I can make a ton of progress, right? So for example, if you say journal, like, what are my dreams? What are my hopes? What are my desires? If money were no object, where would I like to be? How would I like my life to look? Journal about that, right? I bet 99% of you would get started on that, and then you'd hear these little like, yeah, but you're not good enough, and who are you to want that, and you don't deserve that, and money is, the root of all evil, and have you heard those voices when you sit there and start dreaming about what you want? Or can you dream like with impunity about all that, and there's nothing in your way? If there's nothing in your way when you dream and you're like, yes, and I can totally get there, you're probably sitting here like coming in to help coach my people here, right? Most of us that have those voices. Well, every one of those little voices, that's your little red flag. Every time you hear the yeah, but, write it down. Yeah, but. Okay, well, so my brain has just told me that I don't believe I can do this, or that this is not possible. Well, how come? Well, here's a funny one. I went through this one a few years back, but it's still relevant. My brain said, you cannot be and don't deserve to be successful in your business because your mom's business failed. And like mother, like daughter, or like daughter, like mother, you know what I'm saying? So your business will never be successful because your mom failed. I am not my mother. I have done things completely differently from her. Is that true? Does it even make sense? Is there any logic there? No. None. Zero. Zilch. Zip. None. And yet, that was a core belief. So when you can look at that and be like, oh my gosh, that is the most ridiculous thing. It allows you to clear it. It just goes away, right? And that self-doubt is like a big snarling ball of nasty worms. And, you may have to kind of like hold that ball up. And I like to hold it away from myself because I think arm's distance allows me to be more objective. If I bring it in too close, it becomes me, right? So the minute you see it, you're like, okay, what is that? Self, let's talk about this. And you can pull and sort of slowly but surely dissect that big snarly ball. And all of a sudden, you might be left with nothing and you've just debunked it, or you might be left with like a little tiny twig at the root of it. But which would you rather shove in your pocket and figure out a solution for? A big ball of crazy worms that are yucky, or like a little tiny twig? I feel like a little tiny twig, if I need to make it go away, I can whittle away at it with a knife, and it might take me a while, but I can whittle it down to shavings and they're gone. Or I can come up with a mitigation plan. Or if I don't have a plan yet, but I feel like it's now manageable, I can stick it in my pocket and bring it with me and fix it later. And that is really how I kind of see how I see addressing self-doubt, limiting beliefs, and crippling fear, and all of those things. So, do you think you can do that? But it is about doing the work, right? Confidence is a state of mind, but it's also an effort. It's something that we build through repetition. And yeah, you're going to get that snarling ball of worms, you're going to clear it, and then you're going to come across another one. And you may, for the rest of your life, come across more snarling balls of worms. But the best part is this snarling ball of worms that I've just debunked and set free and made cease to exist, I will never see that one again. I'm going to see a new one. And the first time is the hardest, but when you go, oh, look at that, I debunked it, then you find yourself curious, saying, well, if I believe that and it wasn't true, what else do I believe that isn't true? How else can I set myself free from this crazy, and it's not that you're crazy, but your brain believes some pretty insane stuff that is categorically not true. So don't believe everything your brain tells you. It's time to question those assumptions, question your own beliefs, and see what other crazy things you can debunk that will help you move forward and progress. That's a lot. It's a little bit heavy, but I think it's really valuable. I love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.